Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Cult Movie Tuesdays right here on Night Owl Video. Today we're talking about one of my faves, one of my 70s faves, Westworld. So I hope you stick around for this review. I'll be talking about cast, production, where you can watch it, critical reception, all that jazz. So make sure you stick around. This is a science fiction Western film from 1973. It's 50 years old. That's terrifying to me. That's scary enough, right? That's the real horror. This was written and directed by Michael Crichton, rest in peace, who was also the writer of Andromeda Strain, as well as a little dinosaur story you might have heard of called Jurassic Park. He also created the hit TV show ER. Michael Crichton passed away quite a while ago. I think he had lymphoma. But during his life, he did a lot of stuff. Very creative, very smart, clearly a very bright person. This film stars Yul Brynner, who's right here. He was also in the Ten Commandments as well as The Magnificent Seven. This movie also stars the lovely James Brolin, who is also in Amityville Horror. And I just learned also does the voice of Emperor Zurg in the animated film Lightyear about Buzz Lightyear. He also does the voice of old Buzz Lightyear in that film, so I didn't know that. That's kind of funny. This also stars Richard Benjamin, who acted in a lot of TV and movies, and he was also the director of The Money Pit, which I believe is a Tom Hanks movie. Is that the one where they buy the house and it all falls apart? I think I remember liking that one. The synopsis for Westworld is a futuristic theme park where paying guests can pretend to be gunslingers in an artificial Wild West populated by androids. As you can see right here, he's got circuits behind his face. After paying a sizable entrance fee, Blaine, played by James Brolin, and Martin, played by Richard Benjamin, are determined to unwind by hitting the saloons, shooting off their guns, and having sex with robots. That wasn't in the synopsis, but it was in the movie, and it was really weird. I think I'm going to leave it at that because the rest of the synopsis kind of gives away quite a bit. Let's just say there's problems. Let's leave it at that. I mean, this movie's 50 years old, so I don't think I'm really spoiling it for most people. If you're a science fiction fan or a Michael Crichton fan or Yul Brynner fan or you like sci-fi westerns, like you've probably seen this movie, or at least you've heard about it and know what happens in it. But this was Michael Crichton's first directing. This was his directorial debut, if you will. It was also the first feature film to use digital image processing to pixelate photography to simulate an android point of view. So when we see the James Brolin and the other guy through Yul Brynner's eyes, it's all like that kind of pixelated look, which in 1973 was probably pretty groundbreaking. I mean, I don't think a lot of movies were, or this was literally like the first one to do it. So it was brand new technology at the time, so it was pretty cool to see that. Westworld was followed by a sequel called Future World in 1976, which I have not seen, which I have not heard great things about. There was also a short-lived television series Beyond Westworld in 1980. This Blu-ray actually has the pilot episode of that show. I got halfway through it and turned it off. Not very good, and especially compared to the film. A new television series based on the film debuted in 2016 on HBO. And I believe if you have Crave, you can watch that here in Canada. And I have heard great things about that series. I haven't watched it yet, but Crichton said the pre-production was difficult. MGM demanded script changes up to the very first day of shooting, and that the leads were not signed until 48 hours before shooting began. And apparently Michael Crichton had no control over the casting. So the film was shot in 30 days to save time. Crichton tried to shoot only what was needed with minimal takes. Westworld was filmed in several locations, including the Mojave Desert, the gardens of the Harold Lloyd Estate, several MGM sound stages, and on the MGM backlot. And it was one of the final films to be shot there before the backlot was sold to real estate developers and demolished. So kind of interesting and kind of, I guess, a little sad for Hollywood movie fans or buffs. Um, it was filmed with Panavision anamorphic lenses. The gunslinger's appearance is based on Chris Adams, Brynner's character from The Magnificent Seven. Yul Brynner agreed to play the role for only $75,000, which in adjusted dollars is $354,000, because apparently he needed the money and he was having difficulty getting acting gigs, and so that's why he took this. And he also is in Future World, I think, as a cameo. So poor Yul Brynner. I mean, he was, a pretty big star back in the '60s, and then kind of, like so many of those stories you hear, they kind of fall out of popularity or whatever, and then they struggle. And so apparently, from what I heard, allegedly, he probably wouldn't have done this if he didn't need the money, but he did. So rest in peace to Yul Brynner. He passed away in 1985. A television commercial to open the film was added because there was a writer's strike in Hollywood at the time. And this television commercial, this fake television commercial that's at the beginning of the movie, was written by somebody named Stephen Frankfurt, who was a New York advertising executive. So at the beginning of the movie, it starts with like this fake, I should have sort of prefaced that with, at the beginning of the movie, it starts with this fake commercial about Westworld, and there's two other worlds that are connected to Westworld. It's kind of like a vacation resort, and so you can go to like medieval world, and I think it's Roman world or something like that. But the movie here is based in Westworld. The budget for the film was $1.2 million, and it made approximately $10 million at the box office. Initially, the film company was only going to give him $1 million, but because he was coming in on time with the shooting schedule, they gave him an additional $250,000. So he was able to do more stuff in the film. So that was kind of cool. The critical reception for this movie, the critics really liked this movie. The only thing that some critics picked apart was the inconsistency with the beginning and end of the movie. They felt that the pacing for the first half of the movie was really, really strong. And then the second half kind of didn't match the first, with one critic even saying it almost felt like it was written by two different people. I didn't get that vibe watching this. I thought it was a fairly well paced and a fairly even movie. This film currently holds an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, if you follow that kind of stuff. My thoughts on this film, I would give this a 4.5 or a 5 out of 5 easily. I love this movie. I didn't see this till I was like in my 20s, I think, or even 30s. Wow, that was a long time ago. Yeah, I saw this. I didn't see this as a teenager. I saw this like, I don't want to say later in life, but when I was in my 20s or 30s, I think. And I really liked this movie right away. I've watched it many times over the years, and this was a recent pickup. This will actually be in my thrifting haul for tomorrow on the channel, so you will see this cover again. This is an upgrade for me from DVD. I do have like a science fiction 4-pack. It's got like Logan's Run and Omega Man, and it's got this, and it's got one other movie. Soylent Green. So I decided because of all those movies, I do really like Logan's Run as well. The other two I wasn't all that hot on, but I may just upgrade the Logan's Run to Blu-ray and then get rid of that set, because I really don't think I'd revisit the other movies. Omega Man, I want to like that movie. I just have a really hard time getting into it. But I mostly bought that set because of Westworld, because I really wanted to revisit this. Anyway, I upgraded this to Blu-ray. The special features on here are a featurette called there's a featurette, and then there's the 1980 TV pilot Beyond Westworld, and also a trailer. So like I said, the pilot episode of Beyond Westworld was not my thing. It seemed really kind of hokey. But anyway, the transfer on this film on Blu-ray, it looks beautiful. This is just a really cool movie. if you love 70s sci-fi, like Silent Running, or I don't know what else. I'm trying to think of other ones that would be kind of in this. This would be like a nice partnering. Saturn III, I know that came out in 1980, but kind of in that kind of realm. More cerebral sci-fi as opposed to, like, say, Star Wars or Star Trek, where it's more like an adventure. This is a bit more cerebral, and we're talking about technology, and with all the chat about AI going on right now, this is, I think, a pretty relevant film still. It holds up quite well. I mean, obviously the haircuts and the sideburns and some of the cheesiness, but overall this movie still really holds up, so highly recommend this. Like I said, this edition is the Blu-ray. The disc art is pretty plain, nothing too exciting there. It does have that featurette, which I did watch the featurette on here, and it's a featurette from back then, so it's really cool to see some behind-the-scenes footage from this movie back then. This movie has a runtime of 89 minutes, perfecto. It's rated 14 in Canada. This is just a great, great film. If you've seen this movie, I don't know why my screen keeps going yellow. It's the weird sunlight or something. But if you've seen this film, leave your comments below. Tell me, did you like this movie? Did you not like this movie? Would you recommend the new TV series? Do you like Yul Brynner's glassy stare? Yes. This for me is like I love 70s cinema, and I love 70s sci-fi, and this is just one of those mainstays for me when I think about that stuff. Like Silent Running came right to mind as another one that I love from this era that kind of had a bit more of a cerebral feel. But let me know your thoughts on this film. Give me the thumbs up if you like this content. Oh, I also meant to mention you can rent this currently on Prime Video at the Cineplex store, and you can rent it on YouTube and Apple TV. That's in Canada. I don't know worldwide if it's available on other streaming services, but yeah, really, really cool movie. I love this movie. And I will say also, just like, I'm trying to remember if it was like $6 Million Man or something, where they had like those kind of cyborg looking things. I was trying to think of, like, when I was a kid, I could picture in my mind like this like robot face underneath something. If you can remember what that was, I'm pretty sure it was that $6 Million Man, but could have been something else. But I love this. I don't mean to dwell on this too much or go off topic too much, because I was just getting ready to say goodbye. But for me, like when I grew up in the 70s, like this was, I mean, I didn't see this as a kid, obviously, but I saw things like $6 Million Man and Battlestar Galactica and all that stuff. And that, the way the technology or the way that people envisioned the future back then is kind of like my favorite kind of look for sci-fi. Like that kind of, now it looks very analog and almost archaic, but for me, like even revisiting the Battlestar Galactica TV show, I just loved seeing all that old kind of technology, and like how at the time that probably looked so futuristic to my little brain, but now, clearly we've advanced with technology, but I still have a soft spot for that kind of look. And this one with these androids, they're real creepy, and they do take them into this hospital to get them fixed up after they've been shot or whatever. They break down, and so it's this kind of creepy room with all of these robots laid out on gurneys. And it actually kind of reminded me of Coma, which is another Michael Crichton story. If you've ever seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about. Again, though, leave your thoughts if you like this movie in the comments. Give me the thumbs up if you like this content. Consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't. Follow me over on Instagram at Night Owl Video. And until next time, I will see you at the video store or at the thrift store, or maybe I'll see you on the plane on our way to Westworld. Who knows? But until then, please take good care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.